Users navigate from one page to another by clicking on links. That's one of the core principles of the internet, and it hasn't changed since the web's inception. However, while links are simply a way for people to navigate within a website or between websites, search engines will use links as authority and relevance signals. For search engines, though, all links are not created equal. Some links are assigned more weight based on various criteria. For example, links surrounded by text are considered more important than links in footers, as Google states in the video linked at the bottom of the slide. Links surrounded by text are called contextual text links, while links used to structure a website are called structural or hierarchical links. One of the reasons contextual text links receive more search engine weight is related to the fact that users often ignore structural links to go straight to the content, and because they rarely scroll to click on footer links. That's why search engines deem contextual text links more important than some structural links, such as footer links. In this screenshot, I'm pointing to structural links in various types of navigation, such as primary, secondary, or faceted navigation. The contextual text links are present in the main content area. Large websites, such as e-commerce ones, have the advantage of generating an incredible number of internal links, but most of those are structural links that don't carry the same power as contextual text links. Moreover, in some cases, Google might even ignore boilerplate or structural links. We found that boilerplate links with duplicated anchor text are not as relevant, so we are putting less emphasis on these. There are several ways to optimize internal linking, and there is no excuse for you not to capitalize on SEO opportunities that are under your direct control. Theoretically, a large number of factors could influence the value of an internal link, but we're going to limit to the following: the position of the link in the page layout, the type of link as in contextual versus structural link, the text used in the anchor, the type of link as in image link versus text link, the page authority, and the number of outbound links on the page. The positioning of the link in the page layout, for example in the primary navigation, in the footer, or in the sidebar, influences how much PageRank flows out to the link to page. Microsoft has the VIPS patent, which talks about breaking down page layouts into logical sections. Microsoft has another paper that talks about block-level PageRank, which suggests that PageRank passed out to other pages is dependent on the location of the link on the page. Google has a patent on document ranking based on semantic distance between terms in a document, and another patent called Reasonable Surfer. These two papers indicate that links placed in prominent places pass more PageRank than links in less important sections of the page. Contextual text links are assigned more weight than primary and secondary navigation links, which in turn are deemed more important than footer links. However, the presence of the keyword-rich anchor text in the primary navigation, which is present on almost every single page of the website, compensates for relevance. Therefore, primary navigation links are at least as powerful as contextual text links. Unfortunately, you can have only a limited number of anchors in the primary or secondary navigation, which means you have to choose carefully. However, with contextual links, you can implement a large number and variety of anchors because you're not limited by design space or by strict anchor text labeling. For example, you may be restricted to using the anchor text hotels in your structural navigation, but on content-rich pages, you can use contextual text links such as 5-star hotels in San Francisco or San Francisco's best 5-star hotels. Related to the link position, it's worth mentioning the concept of the first link rule. This rule says that when multiple links on the same page point to the same URL, only the first anchor text matters to search engines. In this screenshot, I highlighted 3 pairs of multiple links to the same URL. For the first pair, linking back to the home page with the anchor text home may confuse search engines. This is because the anchor text home conflicts with the anchor text home and garden products. Regarding the second pair, children's bedroom furniture should be a category page on its own at a separate URL. For the third pair, the decorating with metal beds link points to a shopping guide, which is great. However, the link using the anchor text modern metal beds should point to a category page if keyword research unveils that modern metal beds is an important category. For example, the link could point to the metal beds category page filtered by style equals modern. If you want to make search engines count multiple anchor texts, one of the best options is to add the hash sign at the end of the URLs. So if your first link is mysite.com/metalbedguide.htm, then all subsequent links will read like mysite.com/metalbedguide.htm hash value. However, if you link to the same URL with varied anchor text, you don't need to use the hash in the URL. For example, you can link to the same product page once with the product name and the second time using the product name plus the manufacturer name. Just make sure that the varied anchor text is related and relevant to the link to page. Very often you will encounter multiple URLs pointing to the home page, once on the logo and once in the breadcrumbs. In this image, you can see how both links point to the home page. The alt text of the logo is UGG Australia, and the anchor text in the breadcrumb is home. While having a home link is good for usability, I'm not a big fan of the home anchor text. I would either use the brand name in the breadcrumb, because in this particular case the brand name UGG is very short. So instead of home, I would use UGG Australia or just UGG. Or I would replace the anchor text home in the breadcrumb with a small house icon and use the alt text UGG Australia for that icon. Multiple same page linking happens when a page contains multiple links to the same URL. On e-commerce websites, this frequently arises when links on product listing pages point to product detail page URLs. One link is on the clickable image thumbnail and the other one on the product name. If we look at the source code for the previous example, we'll find that the alt text of the thumbnail image is black and the product anchor text is solid ribbon belt. This sends confusing relevance signals and is not optimal. Additionally, the A element has an alt attribute attached to it, but it's in the wrong place because the alt attribute is not allowed on the A element. This alt attribute was probably intended to be a title attribute. The alt text number 1 and number 2 should be switched. The alt attribute on the A tag should be removed. Let's talk about several options for addressing multiple links generated by image thumbnails and product names. One option is to repeat the product name text in the image alt text. This is the easiest way to tackle this particular type of issue. In our example, the thumbnail's alt text will become solid ribbon belt. Another option is to wrap the image and text under a single anchor or a single link. This is not always possible and it's not good for accessibility. A third option is to use the hash sign if you need to use unrelated anchor text to point to the same URL. Other options include placing the product name above the image, but this is against usability and design conventions, or coding the page so that the text link is above the image link in the HTML code, while in the browser you will use CSS to display the anchor text below the image. This is a bit complex to implement, and it's not a very good idea. In the case of multiple same-page links, if the anchor texts are unrelated, they will send confusing relevance signals. However, PageRank will pass through both links. Now that you know that contextual text links are important, let's see how you can create more of them with the help of user-generated content, product descriptions, brand pages, and blog posts. User-generated content, or UGC, is one of the best ways to feed search engine bots, to send engagement signals, and to help users make purchasing decisions. In this screenshot, you can see two typical reviews displayed on a product detail page. Reviews can add to the overall main content text and help with conversions. I highlighted in yellow a couple of words that could be potential internal links. Product reviews are one type of content-heavy, user-generated content and represent a huge opportunity for generating contextual links. But not many e-commerce websites are taking full advantage of product reviews for internal linking purposes. While researching this topic, I was surprised to find that only one of the top 50 online retailers was adding contextual links on user reviews content. For whatever reason, maybe poor SEO implementation, vendor restrictions, fear of linking out from product detail pages and losing conversions, the other retailers didn't. In fact, very few of the top 50 online retailers deployed SEO-friendly reviews, and we will discuss how to optimize reviews in detail in the section dedicated to product detail pages. In this example, the product has more than 1,200 reviews. If you were to add just one contextual link on 10% of the reviews, you will create 120 powerful contextual internal links. Many e-commerce pages contain text-rich sections. Take product detail pages where each product has or should have a description. These content-rich sections are great places to link up to parent categories and brand pages. In this image, the highlighted text could be a link to a brand page. When you link from product descriptions, it's important to link to the category page and, optionally, to other highly related categories. Most of the time, brand pages are nothing but a product listing page, as exemplified in this screenshot. There's nothing wrong with listing products, but you must make brand pages content-rich as well. If you want to build relevant and valuable contextual text links that send more PageRank authority to product or category pages, then brand pages have to include text, media, and social signals. Be creative with the content and link smartly. Add a paragraph about the brand's history and link to the brand's top sellers. Alternatively, you can add interesting facts about the brand and a couple of useful reviews. Get the brand's owner interviewed and publish the interview on their brand page. You can then ask for a link or a mention from their press or news section. Look at how Zappos improved the internal linking on their brand pages and how they carefully interlink thematically related pages. Zappos uses Section 1 as a sitemap to guide bots to various other related pages on their website. In Section 2, it implements brand-specific RSS feeds. When there are new products published for that brand, search engines will be instantly notified. In Section 3, you can see how they use text-rich content for contextual linking. In Section 4, they link to brands' featured products. And finally, in Section 5, Zappos features contextual links within user reviews. As I mentioned in the Information Architecture section, blogs can be used to support and increase authority for category and product pages, but very few e-commerce websites take full advantage of blogging. The article in this screenshot contains links in the main content area, but all those links are external. In their case, it makes sense because those are affiliate links, but if you're selling your own products, you may want to point links to internal pages. When you write blog posts, link internally from the main content to pages on your website, ideally to product and category pages. You can see a good implementation of internal linking from blog posts in this screenshot. As long as you don't overdo it, internal exact anchor text match is still important. At the risk of becoming annoying, I need to stress this. If you're not blogging, you're missing a huge amount of long-tail search queries used by possible customers in the early buying stages. Remember, you write articles not to sell or promote something, but to grab long-tail traffic for informational search queries and to support pages higher in the hierarchy. The amount of content you need to create to support category, subcategory, or products depends on how competitive each keyword is. Other types of user-generated content that you can use to create contextual links are blog comments, user or customer support questions and answers, guest posts, product images with captions, user-submitted images, curated rich media, and even shoppable images. Let's discuss another important factor that influences the value of internal links, the anchor text. The anchor text optimization principle is simple. The text used in the anchor sends relevance clues to search engines, and it has to be relevant to the linked to page. For example, if the anchor text is suitcases and the linked to page includes the phrase suitcases along with other semantically related words, then the anchor text in the incoming link is given more weight. However, if you were to use click here on internal anchor text pointing to, let's say, hotel description pages, then search engines will assign less relevance to those anchors. In this particular example, you should use the hotel names in the anchor text. The study linked from this slide has been conducted on more than 3,000 e-commerce and non-e-commerce websites, and it analyzed more than 280,000 internal links. The study looked for the most common words used in internal anchor text. This screenshot shows those terms ranked by frequency. 7 out of 10 anchor text links could be logically consolidated into 3 groups, represented by the numbers in the image. This technique is called link consolidation, and it's a better alternative to link sculpting with nofollow. Keep in mind that if the links you consolidate are in the footer, then the value of doing this is minimal. Let's see what anchor texts you use to link pages internally. First, let's find out whether you use generic anchor texts such as click here or here on your website. After you run the crawl on your website, use the IIS SEO toolkit to check whether the link text is not relevant violation is reported under the violations summary section of the tool. If you double-click any of the violation titles in the summary section, you'll get more details about each error. There are situations where it's okay to use click here as anchor text, for example, when you link to a page that's not important for rankings, or when you use it as a call to action. As a matter of fact, click here is one of the most powerful calls to action used in online marketing. By default, the IIS SEO toolkit searches for the words here and click here in the text anchors. In practice, there are more generic anchors that you should pay attention to. A more comprehensive list of generic anchors is available to all Pro members in the resources section of the course. If you want to be exhaustive with this type of analysis, you need to export the list of anchors from the IIS SEO toolkit and use Excel for a deeper analysis. Here's how to do it. In the SEO toolkit, go to Dashboard, then click on the Query dropdown, then click on New Link Query. Now use the following settings. In the field name section, use linked is external equals false, link type not equals style, link type not equals script, link type not equal image. In the group by section, select link text. Then hit execute, sort by count, and then click export. This will generate the aggregated link text report. You can export the data to a CSV file. Pro members can download the XML file that generates the same report from the resources section of the course. If you use the XML file I just mentioned, after downloading the file, import it into the IIS SEO toolkit by going to Dashboard, then Query, then New Link Query. Once the Links tab opens up, then right-click anywhere on the gray area and select Query, then Open Query. Open the file generated by the IIS SEO Toolkit using Excel and name one of the spreadsheet's anchors. Name the first column Anchor and list all the anchor text in it. Name the second column Occurrences and list the occurrence count. Add a third column labeled Presence and leave it empty for now, because this column will be filled in later using a VLOOKUP function. Create a new spreadsheet and name it Generic Anchors. Then create two columns, Generic Words and Presence. Then list all generic keywords in the Generic Words column. Fill the Presence column with number 1. Now go back to the Anchors spreadsheet and add the following VLOOKUP formula in cell C2. Copy the VLOOKUP formula all the way down in column C. You can double-click on the tiny dot in cell 2, which is the dot at the bottom right of the cell, to automatically fill the column C with the VLOOKUP formula. If there is an exact match between the anchors used on the website and the generic keywords list, the column C cells will be filled with value 1. You will get NA when there's no match. Sort or filter by 1, and you will get the list of generic anchors on your website. In this example, we can see that the anchor text blog is the most used internal anchor. Additionally, there are some other generic anchors such as click here, here, home, or website. Pro members can download a sample Excel file from the resources section of the course. Next, we'll use the IIS SEO Toolkit to see which pages link to the blog section. You will need to open up a new query by going to Dashboard, then Query, then New Link Query. In the Field Name section, use the following settings: link type not equal style, link type not equal script, link type not equal image, and link text equals blog. In the Group By section, select Link Text. If this section doesn't show up by default, you will have to click on the Group By icon just below the Links tab. Then hit Execute. This report will show you how many times the word blog was used as anchor text. Double-clicking on the link text blog will open up a detailed list of linking URLs. Repeat the process for all generic anchor texts. You have to be more creative and replace the anchor text blog with something more appealing to search engines and people. Even company name blog is a better choice, but you could theme this anchor text even more. For example, if you sell fishing or hunting equipment, you can use company's name Fish and Hunt blog. If you sell running shoes, you could use Mad Runner's blog. When you link to category or product detail pages, use the category or product names as anchor text. For instance, if you sell books, you will link to the product detail page with the book's name. You can also vary the anchor text by adding brands or product attributes to the product name. Exact internal anchor text match still matters for e-commerce websites as long as you don't go overboard, for example, by spamming with site-wide footer links. Usually, it's a good idea to match the search queries with your internal anchor text as closely as possible. However, how do you know which anchors to use to link to a page that lists, let's say, ignition systems for a 2004 Audi A3? By doing keyword research. For example, if you sell auto parts, you can break down the keywords by years, makes, models, product types, or categories. Collect keyword data from as many sources as you can, for example, by doing user testing or using Google Analytics, AdWords data, diving into your webmaster accounts, or doing competitor research, or data from your Amazon account if you have any. Put all the keywords in a master spreadsheet and remove duplicates using Excel. Add the metrics that you want to take into consideration, and your table may look like this. I like to add a keyword ID in the first column, just to be able to revert to the original data at any time by sorting by ID. In this example, for metrics, I am going to consider the average monthly searches for each keyword and the number of conversions. Now you need to identify search patterns. You're going to do this by replacing each word with its corresponding product attribute or category it belongs to. For example, you will replace 2007 or any other year with the placeholder year. You will replace Chevy or any other make with the placeholder make, and you will replace grill or any other category name with the placeholder category. Replace all the words until you end up with a significant number of placeholders. You can eventually speed up this process if your programmers can do this at their end. Once you replaced all the words with placeholders, identify the most used patterns by using pivot tables. For your pivot table settings, use keyword pattern for your rows, and for values, use the following: the sum of average monthly searches, the sum of conversions, and the count of keyword pattern. There you have it. The most common pattern in this particular case is year, make, model, category. However, the pattern with the most searches is make, model. The pattern with the most conversions is make, model, category. By mimicking user search patterns in your internal linking, you will increase the relevance of linked to pages. Anchor text variation. Despite RankBrain better understanding keyword variations, it's still a good idea to vary the internal anchor text pointing to the same URL. For e-commerce websites, the category and subcategory pages will allow only some room for keyword variations. For example, when you link to the Vancouver Hotels page, you can use hotels in Vancouver or Vancouver hotels. When you link to a product listing page, you can add the brand name or the product line the product belongs to. If you link from content-rich areas such as blog posts or user guides, you have the opportunity to vary the anchor text. Contextual text links allow more anchor text variation than structural links. Structural links are often based on rules, such as just the product name or product names plus product attributes, and therefore are not very flexible. But contextual text links are. For product variations, such as model numbers or different colors, the anchor text on the item name can contain differentiating product attributes. In this screenshot, the 3 SKUs are variations of the same product: Canon Digital Rebel XTI 10.1 megapixels camera. The first SKU is just the camera body. The second SKU includes a lens, and the anchor text includes that detail. Similarly, the third SKU includes a lens in a different color. Remember to link using text that makes sense for users without forcing keywords. Also, just a reminder that when you use plurals in the anchor text, consider linking to a listing page, because such queries that contain plurals usually denote that users want to see a list of items. Related links. Merchandising and marketing teams needed to cross and upsell. That's how e-commerce websites started featuring sections such as related items to link to related products. Related linking can be found under various names and implemented in various ways, such as people who purchased this also purchased, you may also like, people also viewed, related products, or related searches. This concept was originally introduced to increase the number of items added to the cart and the average order value, and to help users navigate to related products. The You May Also Like section in this screenshot is commonly found on e-commerce websites and is a good example of a related items section. SEOs realized that related items sections could also be used to optimize internal linking by interconnecting deep pages that were otherwise impossible to connect with other types of navigation. It could also be used to flatten the website architecture or to silo the website architecture by linking to siblings and parent categories. Keep in mind that siloing with related products requires very strict business rules. Related links can be used to boost the authority of any page whenever needed. For example, you can boost the crawling, indexing, and eventually the rankings of newly added products by linking directly from the category listing page or even from the home page. If there are products that have very high value for your business, linking from the home page will send more authority to those products. On a page that lists all houses for sale in a particular district, you can also link to houses in nearby neighborhoods. You can boost hotel description pages by linking to recently reviewed hotels from city listing pages. If you have a lot of data to rely on, you can implement related products with the help of recommendation engines. Such engines are used to optimize the shopping experience on the fly, but often they are implemented with uncrawlable JavaScript. One way of tackling related items implemented with JavaScript is to define and load a set of default related products that are accessible to search engines when they request a page. You will then replace or append more items with Ajax once the page loads in the browser to improve the discoverability for users. The idea is that you don't want to leave the rendering or getting the content to Googlebot. The Related Items section on the left side of the screenshot is accessible to search engines, as you can see in the cached version of the page on the right side of the screenshot. On a side note, while the content of the recommendation engine is indexed, the alt text of the images could be improved. On the other hand, on this website, the Ajax implementation prevents search engines from finding the recommended products. The You May Also Like section should show up in the cached version just after the last product in the list, but it doesn't. If this website wants to flatten the website architecture by internally linking from related products, they have to make sure search engines can access these sections. A fetch and render using Google Search Console can clarify if search engines can render the items in the You May Also Like section. If it works there, it will work for search too. Googlebot is a headless browser. This means that it's a web browser without a graphical user interface, but it's a browser that can render and see pages. Also, keep in mind that what you see when you use the cache operator is not the same with what Google renders at their end. The source of truth for Google is very close to what fetch and render provides in Google Search Console, while the cached version is just the raw HTML. It's most likely that Google uses both the cached and rendered versions of a page just to make sure people are not spamming. Here are a few things to consider when implementing related or recommended items. If you need to add tracking parameters to recommended item URLs, do so in the browser at mouse down or click events. Keep the number of recommended items low and focus on quality. If you want to provide even more recommended items, use carousels. This website links to a sweater and sandals PDP because those products are related to the product detail page they are featured on. You can interlink related items even if they are in different silos if it makes sense for users. Popular searches is another type of related links that can be implemented on e-commerce websites. Run a search on Google or Bing and see which keywords they suggest at the bottom of the search results and consider including some of them on your pages.